Ashes of Creation has a huge 1,200 square kilometer map, and 63% or 750 square kilometers of that map is water, which means Intrepid likely wants to encourage people to go into the oceans. Which brings the question, what are the things that will encourage ocean exploration? Well, we have plenty of known ways Intrepid wants to encourage people to partake in the naval systems, and I think we'll find out quite a few more in the future. First, you have deep sea fishing, which requires fishing boats and lures and yields high rewards. Another system that brings people into the ocean is the Rest of the Gathering artisan class, with ocean content providing better resources in more abundance to compensate for the added level of risk. The added risk is that everyone is flagged as a combatant in the open seas, meaning you can be killed without the attacker getting corruption penalties. With this added risk comes the bigger rewards available. A further reason to partake in a naval system is there will be naval NPCs in the form of raid bosses, quest givers, escort missions, treasure hunting missions, and even NPC fortresses that spawn based on the corresponding node progressing. We know that raid bosses will drop specific crafting materials, and these will be exclusive sources of these materials, so that's a huge draw to delving into the perils of the ocean. Further, we have a castle that is located on a small island in the middle of the map that was said to need naval ships to siege, and node sieges on harbor nodes might offer objective-based naval gameplay as well. Those are all the things that will draw players to naval content, but in addition to that, Ashes has Mariner classes, which are naval-specific skills that players can only level up while partaking in naval content. This has the potential to also be a draw, but I actually think there's going to be even more that we learn about this that eventually draws us in even more. And this is where I'm going to get just a little bit speculative. So far I haven't talked about naval caravans and merchant ships, which are two methods of transporting large amounts of materials. We know the oceans will have their own materials to gather, but to load them into a caravan, they will need to be at a caravansary, and to load them into a merchant ship, they will need to be at a harbor. So loading them up at a specific spot in the ocean and returning to land is not an option. With that in mind, I've wondered what the major draw is for having naval caravans and merchant ships running in the ocean. Caravan system is similar to the trade pack system in Arcade, and in that system players could run trade packs in the open seas that gave a great gold profit. But that profit was from the NPCs to players. With Ashes, the economy is fully player driven and any reward will come from the players. So it might simply be that you are bringing materials to your guild processors and crafters in order to make gear, and the reward is you get gear upgrades. Or it could be you run materials for someone else and they pay you in gold. But in order to encourage these caravans and merchant ships to run across the seas, I think they might make some materials very rare on one continent but abundant on the other. I could see one of the islands, let's take Pelagora as an example, that has a few resources in abundance that are rare everywhere else in order to encourage people to explore there. In addition, I could see a world boss being present there, which of course drops exclusive materials and again encourages people to travel there. In addition, I could see players that have traveled to this remote island might want to stay for a few days at the local inn to collect a lot of materials and farm the world boss, especially since traveling there may have taken a long time to begin with. Then once they have a merchant ship or two loaded, they all pile into their combat ships and they help escort it back to their home node. So far, all we know about resource spawning is that respawn locations are not static. Once gathered, materials respawn at a new random location, and some resources only spawn during certain seasons or during certain story arc events or in corrupted areas or in certain biomes. These things alone could make some resources more frequent in some areas, as the two continents have a pretty different set of biomes and presumably different variations in seasons, and not every biome will experience all 4 seasons. But I think there might be additional chances given to a certain type of resource spawning in a certain area to further encourage naval caravans and merchant ships. If properly balanced, the open seas could be very active with both PvE and PvP. That's certainly what I hope to see, and it would make sense for the largest part of the map to have a lot of reasons to be there. That's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next video.